Hello, and welcome everyone. This is Trudy DeWitt with Calix. I'll give everybody another half a minute or so to join and we'll get started. I see people are hopping on, so we'll just give this a couple more minutes and allow our audience to gather. Okay, well again, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our webinar, 6 Steps to Defend Your Broadband Turf and Boost Profits. Before our presenters begin, I want to share a few quick tips so that you can get the most out of your webinar experience. Located at the top toolbar on the right-hand side, you'll see a settings and control panel where you'll find the questions section. In the question sections indicated by the box with the question mark in the toolbar, we encourage you to submit any questions or comments you may have during the presentation by typing them in there. We'll address those during the Q&A session at the end. And if you don't get to yours, we'll send you a written response. Finally, there'll be 2 live poll questions for you to take part in throughout the webinar, and we'd really like to thank you in advance for your participation in those, because it adds a lot of rich conversation that we can have then as we discuss the topics. This webinar is being recorded, and we'll post a link in the coming days on the Calix Webinar Hub. And be on the lookout for an email. We'll be sending out the link for your convenience. So now it's time for me to turn it over to our host and moderator, Ann Gunther, Director, Product Marketing at Calix. Take it away, Ann.
Thank you so much, Trudy, and welcome everyone. We're excited to kick off the webinar featuring the 6 steps to defend your broadband turf and boost profits. To start with today's agenda, we'd like to open the discussion with a look at market dynamics. What's driving change at this exceptional rate? Then we'll quickly segue into the panel discussion with our guests to explore how they're building for growth, focusing on the service journey and delivering excellence as part of this experience, as well as scaling and monetizing for growth. Also, in addition to the insights from the panel discussion, we have some key outtakes for you with all important considerations and best practices. Now let's jump into introductions. So as you heard, I'm Ann Gunther, and I'm your moderator today and part of the product marketing team at Calix. And now over to you, John.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Good morning. My name is John Casadonte. I look after the unlimited subscriber product portfolio. Many of you know them as your Wi-Fi systems or ONT systems that are on your subscriber sites. Glad to have you, and I'll pass it over to Paula.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Paula Arebach. I'm a Senior Success Engagement Manager for Service and Support here at Calix, and so happy to have you.
Great, thank you so much. And we are thrilled to have with us Cody Mitchell. Can you please introduce yourself and share a little bit about Blackfoot Communications?
Absolutely, thanks, Ann. I'm Cody Mitchell. I'm the Technical Support Manager at Blackfoot Communications. A little bit about us. We're headquartered here in Missoula, Montana. We've got some additional offices in Bozeman and St. Anthony, Idaho. Our parent company is a cooperative. We've been in business for over 70 years. And along with that comes, prioritizing long-term success over the short-term kind of financial goals, or gains, I should say. We have kind of 3 different segments. First off, we're kind of a fiber-based ISP. We provide broadband services to more than 15,000 kind of residential customers across over 6,600 square miles of western Montana and 2,000 square miles of eastern Idaho. Second, we deliver broadband, internet, advanced networking, voice, other technology solutions for business customers, including some of the largest organizations in our region. Think things like hospitals, banks, schools, government entities, that sort of thing. And then we've got another segment that's our wholesale and our carrier services, where we offer last mile fiber connectivity to hundreds of cell towers across Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming. You know, the diversity in our business kind of allows us to serve a wide range of customers with different needs, all while maintaining a strong focus on quality and reliability.
Great, great. Thank you, Cody. And we have the privilege to have with us today Bob Tapani. Can you please introduce yourself and share a little bit about Norvado?
You bet. Thanks, Ann. My name is Bob Tapney. I'm the Customer Network Supervisor here at Norvado. We're a cooperative in northern Wisconsin with our headquarters office in Cable, Wisconsin. We serve approximately 15,000 subscribers covering 41 communities. Norvado is a leader in providing innovative communications technology to both residential and business customers in our areas. We strive to deliver a consistent high-quality experience that improves subscriber satisfaction and operational efficiency. And glad to be here with everybody.
Awesome. Thank you, Bob. All right, folks, as you may be noticing in today's environment, the pace of change around us has never been higher. Competition is extremely dynamic. You may know your competitors today, but tomorrow there could be an unknown competitor that's really changing the subscriber experience. And so this impacted by more industry consolidation, right? I think, in fact, there's a recent industry survey reporting that 93% of network providers, they're expecting more increased consolidation for this year going into next. And so this means faster cycles of change, really increasing that competitive pressure and driving service providers to become more agile while managing and deploying services with even more efficiency. Now, along this line, we'd like to hear your perspective. And so before we jump into the panel discussion, here's a quick poll to understand your environment in relation to this topic. So Trudy, if you would kindly start the poll and we'll have a quick look here. All right.
And I'll give you a little bit of a flavor of what's happening in the background.
Oh, great.
As the polls come in, it seems like there's a good split between the reducing subscriber churn and improving loyalty, and the bottom one is increasing the efficiency of support and operations. It's jumping around quite a bit, actually, and even enhancing the installation and onboarding process. So I would say almost equally across those three, and then minimizing operational guesswork falls in next, followed by upgrading to Wi-Fi 7 systems would be the last.
Oh, how interesting. Okay, great. Okay.
And there they are.
So do we have our final poll results in now? That was a great readout in terms of what was trending.
Yes, and they are being presented to the audience.
Oh, okay. All right. So John, what are the top 3 final results here?
So top 3, number 1 actually tied are the enhancing installation and onboarding and increasing the efficiency of support, both at 57%. And then you can
Excellent.
see, actually, sorry, the top one was jumped to reducing subscriber churn and improving loyalty, which goes to your quote, your particular slide, and about competitive pressure from all different directions. So I think that's pretty much in line.
Wow. So John, are you surprised with any of this?
I would say probably not so much. You know, me representing the portfolio and the Wi-Fi 7 systems, I was eager to find out how the respondents would be, but not surprised, because we've heard in the past that our BSPs are basically pacing themselves for Wi-Fi 7 installments, and looks like probably later in 2025 or early 2026 might be where that might land. So we can get a little bit more out of some customers if they don't in the Q&A.
Ah, great point. All right. Okay, and so apologies, folks. This keeps kicking out of my presentation mode, but alas, hopefully this works. Okay, now let's open the discussion to our panel and go deeper, right? We want to explore the approaches to building your business for growth and delivering a service journey that really differentiates that subscriber experience with more value and more monetization opportunity, okay? And so with that, Cody, let's start with Blackfoot. With over 70 years in the industry, which is tremendous, and you're a provider of innovative voice, broadband network managed services. In this evolution, how are your members' needs changing?
Yeah, and I mean, that's a long time, right? Over the course of that 70 years, we've seen, we've gone from POTS to dial-up to, everything, right? We've seen it all. We've seen our customers' needs change a lot. It's interesting kind of how different groups have different priorities too. Like for families and kids, I've got 2 kids myself. The parental controls and Experience IQ are amazing. I use them every day to set up schedules, manage screen time. It's a lifesaver.
It is. I second that. By the way, the parental controls.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because kids will be upstairs hiding, and I'll turn everything off, and then all of a sudden they show up right next to me. No kidding. And they're like, "Hey, what happened?" And I don't know. Internet broke.
Right.
But then we've got kind of our older subscribers, right? A lot of those folks are most concerned more so about security. Often the ones that might accidentally click on something they shouldn't. So having the protection features and stuff like that is really handy. If you really think about it, in today's day and age, at the end of the day, everyone's the same thing, right? They want a good, solid internet connection and good support when they need it. That's been a huge focus of ours, I should say, for the past probably year and a half.
Right.
So, yeah.
And how did Blackfoot select its subscriber systems, right? We're looking at this evolution, right? And you want to pair the state-of-the-art technology with your customer-first type of approach.
Yeah, absolutely. Our story with Calix is a little unique, or maybe not. I don't know. I've talked to some folks, but we actually started with a pretty specific need. We needed a solution for our CAF testing to meet funding requirements.
Okay.
That's what got us in the door here. So, the thing about it is once we started using it, we realized all of the other benefits. The routers are excellent signal strength. Troubleshooting tools in the cloud are amazing, and they really help to increase our first call resolution. The marketing capabilities lets us connect better with our customers, see what they're doing and how they're using it. We can target them. I think one of the biggest things is how the Calix cloud kind of platform has grown with us. You guys are a great partner for us, and the relationship has just evolved. And as our customers' needs change, we come to you guys and, hey, what do we have that fits this bucket? And normally there's something, and the technology's evolving. So it's been really good.
Cody, I'd like to inject a question here if you don't mind. So,
sure.
Your 70 years of experience, you're in a growth area, your subscriber growth is happening. What is the scale of your company? Like, can you give us a flavor of people that are addressing this growth and, potentially what you have to worry about as you grow businesses? Are you growing your company at the same time?
Yeah. So our backbone is all fiber. We've got a lot of copper subscribers out there, and we're working to transition a bunch of our subscribers to fiber. I'll give you an example of one of our areas up in Thompson Falls. We converted them completely to fiber end of 2023, beginning of 2024. Removed all the copper cabinets, all of that stuff. We ended up with 400, maybe more, new subscribers in that market, all on fiber, just because people were moving there. We had the internet availability. People were taking advantage of it. They know that fiber's where it's at. As far as scaling, we've got. So I had mentioned earlier that our focus has been kind of the customer support reliable internet, right? Well, from the support perspective, we decided that we wanted to bring all of our support back in-house. So we used to outsource a bunch of stuff for support, and we decided we were going to bring it all in. So we had Calix come out. They did a kind of a data breakdown and all this stuff, and that was super helpful for us to kind of narrow in on what we needed to do and what we would require. But we pulled the plug and we did that, and now my team of 7 people takes care of all of our subscribers from a residential perspective in a small business. And then we spun up a NOC as well. So we've got a NOC handling kind of our wholesale and carrier and our, I call the white glove premier service customers. But we've got a whole sales force that is about to hit the ground and really start hammering out some stuff is the ambition there. So it'll be good. It'll be interesting to see where we go and grow.
Appreciate that. Now, Bob, over to you. We'd love to hear how Norvado went about selecting its subscriber systems. I know that there's all about the subscriber experience. And so how did Norvado go about this selection, right? Knowing that you have your options, right? There's a lot to leverage in terms of advanced technologies.
Yeah, we really tried to do our due diligence when we were deciding which subscriber services platform we wanted to go with. In the end, we chose Calix. They offer a really feature-rich yet easy-to-use managed product for both us here at Norvado supporting the product remotely, but also for our subscribers to be able to interact with their devices that they may have within their home. The Command IQ app really gives them that ability to control their home, as Cody was saying.
Sure.
We really encourage customers to use the Protect IQ experience and set them guidelines for their children within their home. Calix provides the latest hardware and software updates. They're constantly evolving as technologies change, which is crucial. Our industry is ever evolving, as most people would agree. And then it's the additional IQ services that we're able to offer our customers. As previously mentioned, the Protect and Experience IQ, but not only that, the Arlo product, the Smart Biz, and now we're currently starting to deploy Smart Town. These are all services that we can offer our customer by using and joining with Calix. It kind of sets us apart from most of our competitors. The benefit of using RGs placed in subscribers' home to perform our FCC testing also has proved as a great advantage. We don't have to have another piece of equipment in the home to do them required tests. Another benefit that we found was the integration between Service and Engagement Cloud. It really ensures all our departments are working towards the same goal to provide a great service to all of our customers.
Oh, appreciate it. All right. Now let's talk about your members, and this question is going to, let's go back to Cody. All right, so let's talk about your members' service journey, starting with onboarding. Okay, can you please help kind of unpack for us how the onboarding works at Blackfoot and to what extent you may be leveraging automation?
Absolutely. So essentially, customer calls in or comes in. You know, a service order is placed with our customer care agents, and then from that point, you know, we try to make it as smooth as possible. So our team, you know, it goes through different departments. So like our line assignment, they assign all the plans if it's not already auto provisioned, and then after that, it hits my team. I've got kind of a well, never mind. It hits my team, and they will put the device serial number into the modem order form, which is built into the service order. And then they hit save, they click a step, and then that shoots out to our automation platform, which then takes over setting up the PPPoE credentials.
Okay.
It creates a default SSID and password that's unique to that customer. It talks to our shipping system, so it'll create a shipping label for us to slap on the box. Most of our routers that we send out, we just send to the customer with instructions on how to install it. You know, if we've got a scenario where a tech's going to be going out there to cut to fiber or something like that, we actually will put a stop sign in the box along with the instructions, but we put a stop sign in there saying, hey, you know, you've got your equipment, just hold on to it until our dispatch reaches out to schedule a technician. That way, when the technician's out there, they can install it. And then, you know, that automation ties into our billing system. So the billing record, the cloud, all of that is automated. And then what we'll do is, I mean, tech goes out or customer gets the equipment, they plug it in, they follow the instructions, and it comes right up with the right information and everything that they need.
Okay.
Yeah, when we do have technicians going out, and we're really trying to push like app adoption. So when we cut over to fiber, a technician has to go out. They got to install an ONT. So our techs don't just set up the equipment. They'll plug it in, make sure customer can connect, all that. But they take the time to show customers how everything works, right? They help the customer, like, here's the QR code to get the app. So scan that. Let's get the app set up. You know, show them some of the cool features like the guest networks and give them the tools to manage their own service. I noticed, you know, from the poll that, what was it, 57% of you guys are focused on enhancing that installation and onboarding process. You know, the time investment, in my experience, during installation, it pays huge dividends later, right? So, you know, you spend that time up front with your techs, really educating and empowering your customers. You're going to get fewer support calls. You're going to have a higher satisfaction rate and ultimately better retention. And you can even set them up with, you know, flyers to take out with them to do an upsell for the Protect IQ or the Experience IQ, or whatever flavor you call it, you know, if you've got it branded. But that's something we've really tried to focus on, is like proper education for our technicians, you know, and then getting that information disseminated to the customer when they're on site. Like it's been a good shift, and it's been really successful for us.
Oh, appreciate that, Cody. Now I'd like to just quickly circle over to Paola. I know that you've had great partnership with Blackfoot and
Yeah.
have been along this line of education, right? You've been doing a lot of collaboration to help optimize their service journey. Can you give us some color in terms of how that partnership evolved over time to really drive, coming back to Cody's point, you know, more of the efficiency, leveraging automation, that focus on the education of the team to help come full circle with that differentiated service experience?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, first of all, I want to like bring to everybody's attention here. These onboarding process at Blackfoot is definitely a thing of beauty. It's like one of the most sophisticated process that I have seen on the field with the multiple customers that I have worked with in the 4 years almost that I have with Calix, and it's just definitely a beauty and a thing of beauty. I started working with Blackfoot before the evolution of the success team, so I know like all the journey that basically took us here. It took a little bit of convincing, let's say, and a little bit of like everybody kind of singing to the same tune to get to a place where they decided, okay, so let's leverage the resources that we have and leveraging the partnerships that we have to kind of ensure that we are going exactly where we want to go. And then they partnered with our fantastic business insight services team, and they identified some perception of gaps in the knowledge, right, that the teams had. And then we decided, well, let's cover those gaps, and then at the same time kind of understand a little bit more in depth, like where, you know, like the efficiencies are hiding for us. So we had the privilege to support them with the after business insights assessment. We were the opportunity to support them assessing their onboarding process. And again, as I said before, it was so automated, so sophisticated, so like well thought that we definitely was one of the things that we celebrated out of those observations, right? But definitely there were some opportunities when it comes to consistent and effective onboarding for the team members. So they immediately jump into action. A matter of a week or so, the customer care team was able to perform closer to that tier 1 level and provide amazing care for each subscriber. So in a matter of just like a week of those observations and a week of like let's leverage the resources that we have, the team was already performing to a higher standard. They also had the chance to audit their documentation processes and the ownership of the process, because there were some kind of redundancies in terms of the ownership, and optimize those. Of course, this translated into better performance for the teams, and they threw up a little bit of the SLAs to those new standards that definitely impacting the subscriber experience with these like minimal changes. So one of the things that I like to highlight here is that it doesn't necessarily need to be like a request for like, hey, I don't know anything, I'm just getting started, I tell me everything. It can be a very well-established organization, an organization that is doing everything right and by the book, and you can still find opportunities to, you know, like those little like elusive secrets for success that you might not be aware of, and embracing them and have these like incredibly impactful change in a matter of just 1 week, like Blackfoot did. So like Blackfoot is like really near and dear to me, and I am a little bit biased when I talk about them, but their growth is just like inspiring, definitely.
Oh, that's awesome. And I'd love to hear more about how this partnership really addressed the installations, right? So this is that first touch in the service journey, so critical, right? And so Cody and Paola, how did you, when you look at your options for installation, sounds like Cody, you have self-install as well as the on-site, right? The the technician coming in. How did you look at that model and figure out, okay, we might have opportunities for improvements here? How do you, drive the efficiency while maintaining that quality?
Yeah, I think so. We've always had those two kind of models, self-install or tech install. Really what it was refocusing on, how can we reduce trouble tickets, how can we reduce churn, all of those things, right? And how can we improve loyalty?
Right.
The early engagement that I mentioned, like during the installation process, it's been key for us. So like when customers understand the value they're getting, they're so much more likely to stick around, right? I feel like having our techs actually demonstrate features and functions instead of just saying, hey, your thing can do this and this can do this, kind of creates that wow moment that builds some loyalty and trust with that individual, and trust with the brand, with Blackfoot, with our company. What we've seen is that with our customers who use the app are more satisfied, they call less, and we see the value in, and they, see the value in what they're paying for because they're actively engaged with it. Translates to better retention rates, improved loyalty, and reduced churn. So,
Okay. Hey, in relation to the on-sites, can you share some use cases for the field service app?
Yeah. So that's something that it's fairly new to us. We've just started kind of taking a peek at it and doing some testing on our side. So we haven't done an install with that field service app yet. But it is something that we're actively looking at and testing amongst my group and the outside technicians to make sure that it fits all the needs. And in our testing, I mean, there is some massive capability there. There's Wi-Fi site survey type stuff. There's where you can take pictures and get like a health report, or like I should say maybe a service report on install that uploads to that subscriber in the cloud. From the technical support side of things, our techs can pull that up. They can see, okay, this is what your signal levels were at the time of install. Here's the picture of where the router is placed. Is that router still there? I see a big use case for it. Again, we're just trying to get the testing out of the way and make sure that the functionality is all there for us and our techs. We don't want to fall on our faces on that. So we're very thorough when it comes to testing.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to add to that, Anne, because like knowing what I know about Blackfoot, like I feel like he's a perfect reflection of all that like hard work and sophistication that they have already in their onboarding process, and like translated it to the installation process, right? Because like all those details that we're capturing and ensuring that we're automating within the onboarding process now can also be reflected in the installation when we are like documenting in full everything that is happening at the time of installation. This we know is going to be instrumental for us down the road, like when hopefully way down the road we need to troubleshoot that customer, and then we have basically a birth certificate, right? Like an initial picture on how things look like by the time that Joe install this service back in 2025, right? So I think it would be like really, really helpful to kind of like continue that like level of excellence that you guys have within your boarding process, and expand it a little bit into the outside planting and the installation experience for the subscriber, all in an effort to bring one more step for quality assurance, for better documentation, for better subscriber experiences.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the birth certificate, those are the words I was looking for. I couldn't quite get them out. Thinking about that customer 6 months down the road and their Wi-Fi is experiencing some issues, like, why? I see here it was perfect on install. Something's changed.
Exactly. Right.
Did you move your router? Did you introduce a new device? Is there a microwave right in the middle? So.
And also, like, I feel like it's super impactful for customers like Montana customers, like when like windshield time would be like brutal for you guys, for something that can be easily identified with an informed conversation over the phone if you have access to that birth certificate. So simply validating. So it seems like when Joe installed the service, we put it in the living room. Is the residential gateway still located in the same place, or something changed since then? So, like being able to identify, my customer put it in a closet. So the Aspire, of course, is struggling.
Oh, sure. And that reduces the rework, a second truck roll, strong benefits there. And I can certainly appreciate the due diligence, right, in testing. And we're hearing a lot of great use cases coming out of the use of the field service app. So great to hear that this is tracking well. Awesome. Now, John, I just wanted to swing it over to you and see if you had some questions.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. Actually, I wanted to reach out to Bob and ask him a little bit about his situation. Bob, do you guys do self-install, or do you actually roll a truck for installation purposes, and how is that going for you?
We do both here. When we first started our journey with managed services, we would roll a truck to every, of course, everyone was a new subscriber in deploying our managed services. Since then, we've kind of pivoted that if a service point under a previous customer, maybe a new customer has moved into that service point, we will do a remote install with those customers and mail them the GigaSpire and have them do a self install. It's kind of changed over our process. By getting a tech in the home, as Cody kind of alluded to, you're able to ensure that gateway is placed in the proper spot in the house. Make sure it's fed on Cat 6e. It really ensures the best installation. It allows our techs to upsell additional units. For example, the U4HE we now offer to our customers for them people that maybe want to get that Wi-Fi out to their dock down by the lake or out to an outbuilding. So we've kind of tried to stay flexible in that sense, whether we send a tech. Like I said, it's preferred to send the tech to make sure that gateway is in the proper location.
Yeah, and I think that's an excellent response. And I guess the quick follow-up is that, do you envision, and it sounds like you do, this may be a little rhetorical, but do you envision this to be a touch point that you guys can leverage from a business standpoint? Like you said, you're growing, you can offer other services. Maybe the individuals are not so well versed on what to do once they have this new system. So I'd imagine this is an important touch point for you.
Yes, it's a very important touch point for us. In addition, and Cody kind of hit on this earlier, getting the app in the customer's hand to set up their services so that they're in control really helps on the back end with them being able to troubleshoot their own Wi-Fi.
Right.
One of the things we do is show them how they can open up the app and do a speed test right there. If that speed test is good, then they know that it could be the device that maybe that is acting slow.
Yeah, great, thanks.
And Bob, can you share some color in terms of how your team is, you mentioned the focus on the on-site, right? And engaging the subscriber, really driving the education, how your team is leveraging the field service app.
Yeah, we feel, creating that first experience between the tech and the customer is crucial to creating a lasting relationship. It's the first time, most of the time, it is the first person that they're
Mm-hmm.
meeting from Norvado. Previously, maybe they talked on the phone with one of our reps. So that we really hold that to a high standard. So the field service app, previously we would use our billing system app to take pictures when we're on site to kind of document where we put the router to make sure the installation was clean. And now with the deployment of the field service app, it's something that we've been really asking for at Norvado for a long time, and Calix came through for us. It really helps ensure that we're getting a quality installation, and it helps identify any issues that we should future support or troubleshooting that we might need. It's been a nice addition to our installation practice. It not only for documenting the install, but it also serves as a guide to new techs. We're always growing. We're hiring more techs. It really gives them kind of a playbook to run through when we have them do it at the end of the installation, so that they can do that speed test within the field service app to ensure the customer is getting the correct speeds. But then it helps them walk through it. Hey, did I seal up the hole from where I made my entry point? It gives that picture of the Gigaspire, the picture of the ONT, the wiring. From a management standpoint, that really helps me to kind of review, and I'll follow back up with techs and say, hey, why did you do this? Or maybe I'll notice that a Gigaspire is close to being behind the TV. I'll offer productive criticism back to the tech that, hey, let's try not do that next time. Sure, it's working now, but it can be better, right? So it's really helped ensure that first touch point with that customer is the best that we can make it.
Right. Great. Thank you, Bob. Okay, so let's now dig into proactive network and service management. All right, we're going to start first on the service side and the types of tools that are really driving this experience. So back over to you, Cody. We touched on earlier the mobile app, right, that really helps to enable self-service support. And that's tremendous, right? It provides the immediacy in terms of being able to serve up the tools for the subscriber to do the testing, et cetera, right? Now, what tools are your support team using to continually improve that experience? And I'm sure, Paola, you might have some comments here too.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, a key part of our strategy was bringing our support in-house. So my team handles the majority of the support from 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. After hours and weekends, we still do have a third party covering. The cloud, the support cloud has, actually, I think it's the service cloud now, but it used to be the support cloud. The service cloud gives us visibility, right? So it takes the guesswork out of what's going on. From you log into the cloud, you can see what the customer has for their service, SSIDs, devices connected, signal strength of those devices, speeds that they're connected at. From right there on that page, you can pop into the website GUI, and my team actually utilizes a lot of the wireless features from within the GUI. But we've got top talkers enabled, so we've got all of our NetFlow traffic is going into the cloud. We can see, okay, well, this customer is saturating their connection pretty consistently, and kind of give them tips on what to look for, what to check for, what to disable. Refer them back to the cloud, or excuse me, the app, to say, why don't you set up some limitations on this device? Or, in some of our use cases where customers on a copper connection that's maybe slower, we've told people, if you're wanting to stream something on your TV, pop open the app, disable those other devices so they're not doing anything, and that they're fine with that solution. It works for them, and they can watch TV without it buffered because their computer's not hammering the upload on that DSL connection.
Right. And are you seeing any key metrics, right? So with this increased visibility into the subscriber experience, that access to the real-time intelligence, across the subscribers, the systems and the services, are you seeing a change in the number of trouble tickets or the cut in like unnecessary equipment replacements?
Yeah, so I think I don't have a percentage for you, but our trouble tickets have reduced significantly since taking over the support. I attribute that to our techs being able to do more one-call resolution. They've got access to anything and everything they need to resolve an issue. We were able to get hands-on training from Izzy and Paula here at the office with my technicians. If I look at like October of 23 to October of 24, there's a 200 ticket reduction there. The next month we had a 500 ticket reduction. The next month we had a 600 ticket reduction, just year over year. So far in 25, I've got 500 ticket reduction from 24 to 25 in January, and almost an 800 ticket reduction from February to February, 24 to 25. It's been a big change for my team. They're definitely busier, but we're more efficient. They see so much more that it's like something comes in, oh yeah, I know exactly what's going on. It's not an assumption. They're basing it on factual information from the cloud. But they see an issue, they know how to resolve an issue, and it happens so much more efficiently.
Oh, great point. In the interest of time, I'm going to quickly jump over to Bob. And John, did you have a question or comment that you would like to fold in?
Just a public service announcement for the folks who are on the call. If you have a question, please submit it in the question box. There is one in there, Ann, that I think we could address right now. And the question is, are we able to track app adoption by the customer?
Yes, we are.
Maybe give a little more flavor on that?
Yep, I'm more than happy to, certainly. So in Service Cloud, in relation to the Command IQ mobile application, and this is that subscriber version that they can have in their hand to control their home network, we can look at the provider level to see what that adoption level is. So based on the number of subscribers, what is the number of the app adoption, right? And get a percentage there. And this is oftentimes shared with the success organization who works very closely with the service provider to really look at the strategy and the tactics to drive that adoption, right? How do you increase it, ramp it over time so that the subscribers, are more self-empowered?
Yeah, and I will invite I can now fully see the question, unfortunately, so I don't know who the person asking it. I will encourage you to check the opportunities that we have available to customers within the engagements. There is one specifically that is geared towards empowering customers onto the specific goal of identifying how to not only understand where do I stand in terms of adoption, but what strategies to follow to be more successful at it.
Right.
Just a quick answer, you can go into dashboards. If you have the right permissions for Calix Service Cloud, you're going to leverage the section Managed Services Adoption. And in there, you're going to be able to pull reports that tell you the app adoption to either for Command IQ or Command Works.
Yeah, that's
Perfect.
great. That question came from Jill Fritz, by the way, Paola.
Okay.
There is one more in here, and I'll leave it to you whether we have time to ask that question right now, or whether we hold that for a second.
Okay, we have a bit more to cover here, but let's certainly hang on to that here. I just wanted to quickly swivel over to Bob in relation to proactive network management. So Bob, I know that Norvado does a lot along this line here. And so just wanted to quickly hear from your perspective on the proactive network analytics that you're leveraging to improve your network performance.
Sure. We use, when our techs are on site, we use a Wi-Fi analyzer to help determine the best location and overall to provide overall coverage and prove that the wireless bandwidth speeds are at acceptable rates once the installation is complete. One thing that we really have taken advantage of is the quality of experience overview within Service Cloud. Not only for new installations, but customers that may call in that are reporting that their Wi-Fi experience is not what they expected. Using that quality of experience, we can really ensure that the customer's whole home Wi-Fi is excellent and offer suggestions to the customer that, hey, maybe a iPad is really dragging down their network. It's older, it's only capable of much slower speeds. That let's try and either move that closer to the router if it's got real low signal strength, or maybe shut it off and see how your experience is with the Wi-Fi, and really offer the customer a proactive solution to what they might be experiencing.
Awesome. And that's perfect segue into the next area of scaling this. And so how does Norvado scale up this support in operations as you grow?
We're always looking to solve problems with intelligent solutions. Even before they exist, we're showing our customers that we're anticipating their device needs, and we really care about their experience with us.
Awesome. Okay, great. And now let's go ahead and start sharing some key considerations, right? These are part of the outtakes that we wanted to ensure that you leave this webinar with. All right, and so to get us started, over to you, John.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Ann. Yeah, I'll go through these relatively quickly, you guys. I'd love to get some Q&A going, but this is being indifferent to our product portfolio. These are things that should be taken into consideration from your standpoint on behalf of your subscribers, because they're plentiful, many of them on here. We have 9 different items here that we could discuss, but I'll just classify these on the left and just give you a high level. So signal strength and coverage and performance are all critical. That's probably a no-brainer for many of you. All of us are not on equal playing field. It technically gets into the design of the system and the selection of the components. And when you look at systems, things you want to consider is, what is the output power of the antennas, and will that drive enough coverage within the particular application, whether it be home or business? Those are things that are going to be critical for you in preventing getting support calls complaining about lack of connectivity or slow response. The other component is design and functionality, and this comes into play when you look at your system. It's really critical to know that this is technology that we're dealing with. It's not all about looking pretty or being the cleverest in design. There are guides that are developed by essentially electronic engineers that dictate how small a system should be or how large a system can be without it affecting some of the other communications within your environment. Know that most of our devices in our home literally are on 2.4. If you're really popular, if the subscriber is really popular with home devices, the vast majority of those are on 2.4. So that is the most cumbersome and offers the most conflict when it comes to airwaves in our residence and in our business. And the final one in system architecture, it's about growth. I think a couple times you've heard both Bob and Cody talk about evolution, smooth evolution, selecting products for longevity. That is a critical aspect, and system architectures that choose CPUs that are inexpensive and don't have growth plays will impact you in the long run, because you won't have the ability to upgrade to new technology or new capabilities. You're likely going to have to do a forklift upgrade. And then I'm going to jump to the next slide. And so why are these things important? It's all about time to market. It's about being able to get your stuff out the door, get it activated and get it running. The products that you're going to put your hands around and embrace must fit into your day-to-day activity, whether it be within your MOPS. It has to offer capabilities to both you and the subscribers, whether it be from a troubleshooting standpoint or a feature-rich capability, much like the IQ suites that we were talking about today. The third bullet is really critical. Consider standards compliance as one of those components that you have to be careful about. All people, all the manufacturers do not view standards the same way. There's something that is referred to as minimal viable product. MVP is what the technology world calls it. And essentially, those are just the mandatory items that are required within a standard. There are a bunch of optional capabilities that really bring the value to the table that a lot of manufacturers skip in order to get things out the door and to offer a price that appears very attractive to the BSPs and subscribers. And then the last part is oversight, and that's everything we've talked about so far. The ability to have full control of the systems, have your subscribers be a part of that message and functionality, and making sure that whatever level within your organization has full visibility of what's happening with those systems out in the field. So with that, I'll transition it back to you, Ann.
Awesome. Thank you, John. And folks, we're on a theme here, right? Making it simple. And with that, the first touch point needs to truly be memorable, unforgettable. And how does that happen, right? And you might have heard of CES. It's a customer effort score. And it really measures how easy it is for a product or service is to use by the customers, right? And so the easier it is to find your service options, do the ordering, setting up that install, right? That is really what is going to reflect in driving the retention, that loyalty that we're all looking for, right? And along that line, personalization is key, right? Even just take the install option that we were talking about, right? And to avail that for subscribers means being able to give them an option, right? Would they prefer the self-service mobile app, do it yourself, or more of a guided self-install where it's half and half? There's a CSR helping to guide some of those preliminary steps, and then that subscriber can finish up the install using their app, right? Or the full service install, right, from start to finish, really driving that engagement with the subscriber, right? We were mentioning the field service app has been more broadly adopted to really help hit on that and drive that exceptional experience. So these are some examples of how to really look at simplifying, right? Making sure that there's a low effort on behalf of that subscribers to engage with your service. And with that, assuring that broadband experience, right? Making sure that it's something that is validated in terms of that service experience, right? There's intelligent tools to really help enable that. And again, leveraging those the real-time intelligence across the subscribers and the services and the systems, right? So that the service organization can really help stand up and scale that differentiated subscriber services over time, right? And that plays directly into the monetization opportunity, right? With that foundation that scales, managed services can be layered upon that to increase the ARPU and really look at how to deliver value to the community. I know that we are at time here, so if we could just quickly hear from our customers, Blackfoot, Cody, and Norvado. Bob, if you have any last comments that you'd like to share, and as we're doing that, Trudy, if you could kick off that second poll.
Sure. I would just wanted to mention, you know, with our customers that are joining us today, is the Calix community is a really great spot to start when you have questions on some of these topics we've covered. They have a lot of great articles. You could follow pages that maybe pertain to your exact field. It really increases your confidence when working within the Calix products.
Great, appreciate it.
Yeah, I would echo that. I'd also say, like, you know, when you're thinking about systems, think beyond what you need today, right? Our CAF testing was the requirement that we needed to find a solution, which led us to Calix. But it's grown into so much more than that. You know, from an onboarding perspective, figure out how to automate. That's going to be a big key to your consistency, and create your standard processes that will minimize errors, but keep the personal touch where it matters. You know, initial contact, getting the tech to make that touch point, all of those things. So.
Excellent, thank you. And folks, if we didn't get to your questions, apologies. We'll be sure to circle back with you. No worries there. We just had a lot of great content today and wanted to make sure that we shared with you these key outtakes. They're so critical, and hopefully that helps to connect with you and provide you some actionable items coming out of here. And with that, are we good with our poll? Do we need more time?
I'll leave it open just for a few moments, just to give everybody the opportunity to provide any information that they would like on any of these topics. And you know, if people are ready to drop off, the content of the webinar has completed, and I'll just leave the poll open for a few moments. Keep in mind that you'll also be receiving a link with the recording, and I'd really like to thank everybody, and particularly our clients, for joining us today, and have a great afternoon or late morning.
Excellent, thank you so much. So big thank you to our audience and our panelists for an insightful and engaging discussion. We certainly appreciate it, and hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.